Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Focal Point. Brian Fisher is my name. You are listening to Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on Conservative Talk Radio. And by the way, I got a story here in the stack. Where's that from? Daily Mail. Let me see if I can find that puppy. Talking about how stronger men are more conservative. The stronger you are, I mean, the more upper body strength you've got, the more opposed you are to the redistribution of wealth. So that's why we call this program the home of muscular Christianity. Here it is, Daily Mail Online. Men who are physically strong are more likely to have right-wing political views. And so that's the problem here. I'm telling you, ladies, I just keep busting out the sleeves of my T-shirts. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Debbie has to keep sewing it up. But there it is. Men who are physically strong are more likely to have right-wing or conservative political views and be opposed to the redistribution of wealth and to the welfare state. So there you have it. Focal Point, unapologetically the home of muscular Christianity on Conservative Talk Radio. Now, Rob, if you can, before we go to the phones, grab clip number 14. I talked with you going into the break, Byron York's piece about how the IRS is basically going to be Obama's enforcers. It's the IRS, the same people that have harassed 471 conservative organizations. It comes out now they harassed James Dobson in his new Family Talk program. They harassed Billy Graham, of all people. They harassed the National Organization for Marriage. They leaked documents on Mitt Romney's tax returns, probably to Harry Reid. They harassed the co-chairman of his campaign. They harassed Tea Party groups all over the fruited plain. Now, the IRS, ladies and gentlemen, the IRS will be the enforcers for Obamacare. You are going to have to, every one of us, file an extra tax form next year to the IRS. We turn it in to the IRS, and it lets them know whether we have qualifying health insurance, whether we've got a health insurance package, that program that has all the requirements on it that Kathleen Sebelius says we have to have. Even if it's stuff that we don't want, even if it's stuff that we wouldn't pay for, it was up to us. We have to have it, or we're going to be subject to a fine. You don't pay the fine, you're going to prison. So the IRS, this is a monster. The IRS is simply a monster because it's going to be in charge of enforcing Obamacare. And here is Rick Santelli, clip number 14. You don't remember Rick Santelli? This is the guy that started the Tea Party event back in 2009 when he went nuts on CNBC. Here is Rick Santelli talking about the IRS and Obamacare.
But the government is different. I personally think Benghazi and the IRS story will change health care. They will change Obamacare. Why? Because it's one thing to have all your receipts and be called on the carpet and hassle and prove you're innocent. It's another thing, like Seinfeld, when you walk in line and you need that stent and they say, no stent for you because you back this group, you have these thoughts, you live in this area. This is going to change the involvement of government and the IRS enforcement originally designed in Obamacare.
So and we can talk about second hour. We've just got to kill the IRS. I mean, that is all there is to it. I'm not saying that IRS agents are bad people. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm sure many of them are good people. They are good people that are being hired and paid to do bad things. I'm sure they're fine people. I'm sure they're good family people. I'm sure a lot of them go to church. A lot of them go to Bible study. A lot of them are great neighbors. They're nice to their kids and their wives. They are good that are being paid things. We to David, Richmond, Virginia. David, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man, I listened to another talk guy too. You're just as learned as he, and I like you because you are a Christian perspective. You were saying, and I will stand corrected. Just there to David Ford, that you were saying that the Democrats and the media and all was gonna like just turn against Obama for all of these things that have been going on.
Yeah.
And the other talk show guy said that there are some who are speaking up a little, but they're going to circle the wagon for him. And if we expect that Obama will, be punished or impeached or what, was sadly mistaken. And I just thought that you were saying the opposite of what the other guy was saying. I would just like to get your opinion. I mean, are you saying that you think that impeachment proceedings will happen, or the media will all of a sudden, after so many years, not be liberal anymore, or just turn against Obama? Is that what you think? I mean...
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, I appreciate that call, David. That's a good question. And, I take our crystal ball to answer that question. Rob, why don't you grab clip number 10, the Jason Chaffetz clip? Dan Gaynor was on yesterday, Media Research Center, and he said, I don't think this is going to lead to impeachment. And you'd have a huge problem impeaching the first black president in American history. I mean, the cries of racism would be just off the charts, regardless of whether he had done things that merit impeachment. So Dan Gaynor said it's more likely that he's just simply going to be crippled. He's going to have no support. As Lisa Meyer said, the media, one of his major constituencies, they're not excited about what they see going on. If he doesn't have one of his major constituencies behind him, he's in big trouble. So it may be just a matter of him being paralyzed in his second term. But here's Representative Jason Chaffetz, and he says, look, the I word not off the table. Let's listen.
Jason Chaffetz of Utah is joining us right now. Among other things, he suggested that perhaps President Obama's handling of the Benghazi terror attack could be an impeachable offense. Congressman, tell us what you mean by that.
Well, thanks, Wolf. Good to be with you. Look, it's not something I'm seeking. It's not the end game. It's not what we're playing for. I was simply asked, is that within the realm of possibilities? And I would say yes. I'm not willing to take that off the table, but that's certainly not what we're striving for. We want truth. We want to bring the people who perpetrated the terrorism in Benghazi to be brought to justice, and we want to have the president do what he has said he would always do, and that is be open and transparent. Thus far, the White House has not done that.
So Jason Chaffetz said, look, we're just after the truth here. And I agree with him. This isn't a vendetta. We don't have anything personal against anybody. We just want the truth. We want a government that's operating within the bounds of the Constitution. And as Jason Chaffetz says, we just want transparency. We want honesty from our government. So far, that hasn't been forthcoming. And Chaffetz says, look, impeachment is not off the table. It is in the realm of possibilities. No way you'd get a conviction. Remember, Bill Clinton was impeached, which is essentially a political word for charged with a political crime. He was not convicted. The Senate exonerated. Well, it didn't exonerate him. They just didn't vote him guilty. And that would happen here. I think the House could possibly file articles of impeachment. The trial would have to be conducted by the Senate, and there's no way, when it's 55-45 Democrat, there just isn't any way that they're going to vote to find him guilty. But the mere fact of being impeached would be a huge blot on his legacy. Let's go to Adam. Adam, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon. I just have a couple quick comments about the IRS thing. And I don't really want to say which one, but I work for a state revenue service. I kind of, from my experience in working for government agencies, I only really see probably two possibilities on how the IRS scandal went down. There were too many organizations that were targeted for this to be low-level employees. And a mid-level manager would not instruct their employees to do that, because if they did, they would make someone mad and complaints would get made. I really don't either see this as being something that was done by upper administration in the IRS, or either it came from the White House in the form of the president or Holder or possibly his chief of staff or someone like that. It either came from, I really think it either had to have come from either just upper IRS administration or the White House. I just don't see it coming from anywhere else, because that person would have already been thrown under the bus.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate the call, Adam. And I'm looking here, again, a stack of stories on the IRS thing. And to give you an idea of the political leanings here, number one, these IRS employees that are under the gun in Cincinnati, they simply said, look, we were just doing what we were told. This is according to Fox 19 in Cincinnati. One of Fox 19's two sources went on to say that these four IRS workers claim, quote, they simply did what their bosses ordered. So in other words, this clearly, what the administration is trying to do, they've been out there calling these agents rogue agents. They went off reservation. They were acting on their own. They didn't do this with authorization, but they're saying absolutely not true. This is what our bosses ordered us to do. And to give you a look at the political leanings of that office, in the Cincinnati office, 75% of the political donations last year went to the Democrats. 75% in the last 3 elections went to Democrats. 75%. The national average for IRS is 2-1, but in Cincinnati, 75-25, 3-1. Every or to the liberal Democrat Senate candidate, Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio. So their politics obviously lean very, very far to the left. One more call before the end of the hour. Let's go to David, Columbus, Ohio. David, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Well, Brian, we're called to be salt and light, and there's a group of us that meet in front of the abortion clinic, and we've got a website up called MidohioAlliance.org. And we've got 2 pages of pro-life Bible verses on it. We've got 1 page of guidelines to be followed, which 2 police officers help write. You know, and I invite clergy to come out and stand in front of the abortion clinic on Cleveland Avenue every week. And here are some of the comments I get when I call different pastors up. I'm busy at 6 a.m. The only thing I do at that time is go to the bathroom. We will pray for you. One pastor said, our current administration is pro-choice. You know, and I responded, well, who do you fear more, Obama or God? One pastor said he'd like to send out teams with Bible tracts, and we need that to be done for each hour that these clinics are open. You know, the late D. James Kennedy and Jerry Falwell both stood in front of the abortion clinics, and Matt Friedman, I'm sure, is still standing in front of the abortion clinics. And I would like to take the time to invite the pastors in Columbus, Ohio, to come stand with us.
All right, David, listen, I appreciate the call, and thank you for your stand for life there. And, you know, we've seen the results of people that have just stood in front of abortion clinics faithfully and prayed. You know, we could have the last abortion clinic in Mississippi on the verge of closing some point over the next time, as soon as we can get judges to cooperate and actually enforce the law instead of make the law. And that's a result of people faithfully standing in front of that clinic day after day, week after week, and simply praying for justice. Focal Point AFR Talk. We'll be back after the news. Stay with us.